week of Mitzvah Shem how to start this. Okay, we're over here on page Shin Yud Tes. The Zohar says, "Tu ispashe d'chura v'yamina v'smola." The male, or ispashe v'nizgadol, the parts of a Zair Anpin b'kav yamin b'kav smol. So the milk is spread. Birusa da'achzana. Ayedech of Yerushas hamochim chochma bina, because chochma bina come and spread on the right and left side. Sheyarish Zair Anpin min ava ve'ima, its inheritance. Ki muach ha-chochma nispashe b'kav yamin, because chochma spreads down the right line. Shehem spheres chochma chesed netzach chachan. O muach small nispashe b'kav small bagho. So he says, Shehem spheres bina gevur and hod. V'kad gavnech of ischavra. Because shal nischavra of ishlecha gavonim shehem gavon lovam shal kav yamin v'gavon eden shal kav small. When these two right, left, red, white lines combine, hakolul lechaviyaka b'kavim soy, and they all become mixed into the middle line. Ikri teferes. That's the concept of beauty. Nikra teferes ki oz hu mefur b'kam b'chagavonim, because it is beautified by many different colors. Vistaken kol gufa, and then it starts to build the entire body the way it should. By putting them together. Nisake v'naasa gufa shel Zair Anpin, that makes the body of Zair Anpin, it grows into a body. Vis aved ilu the shafer v'yo'eh, and it makes a great tree. V'oz nach Zair Anpin yavesim becomes Le'ilan Gadol, a great tree, v'chazak, and very powerful, Yafa, and strong. Yafa, beautiful, v'no, and pleasant to see. And this comes about through the chesadim that are in the muach hadas and magdilim as gufa shel Zair Anpin, which grow the body of Zair Anpin. Techasochi, underneath that, the talda chabacheves bara. What's that mean? Tachas selo. So underneath he says, under the shade. So I guess he means the shade. I'm not sure what he means by sail here. Yeah. You have these creatures, the chayasasada, which usually when he uses the first word, he refers to the face of a man, the face of an ox, the face of a lion. I got a little off order, and the face of an eagle. Shehi Rachel Nukva the Zair Anpin. So he says something completely different than what I said. So he says, what's that mean? Shehi Rachel, who's the Chayas Asada? Nukva the Zair Anpin, Hanikras Chayas Asada. So he says that she's called the creatures of the field. Now, I thought they would just put the word field there. That would make better sense, but he says it's the creatures of the field. And where is she? She is related to and stands underneath the body of Zair Anpin, min chachaza shalov lamata, from his chest going downwards. Now this, where he says he calls her underneath him, so that's mashma there that Zair Anpin, so to speak, is like on his back, and she's underneath that back. And he has wings, Ashel Zair Anpin. That's where you see the birds of the heaven. These birds we're talking about are the angels, like homing pigeons like that. And then the neshamas of the Jewish people, he says, that have an origin in the Vak of Zair Anpin. Shehem Hanafim Shalo, which are in fact the 6 kitzvos, are his branches. He says, there's enough sustenance in Mazan the Kol Tachtonim Nimsabo. So in these branches of Zair Anpin is all the sustenance for all of the partsufim down below in the Sephiros. Ki Zair Anpin knows in Mazan V'Shefa the Nukva, because his job and what he does is he feeds the Nukva. And from the Nukva everything else gets fed. The roa yamina of the smaller, so let's take the right, left arms. Bizroas yamin is small Zair Anpin. Haim orach b'chesed the gavur. You find over there the 2 lights, one called chesed, one called gavur. B'lechem b'yamina b'chayim b'chesed. In the right, you see chayim, and chesed. What's that mean? Bezorah b'yamin nimshach chayim v'chesed yisod. Well, this is where the life force comes to us in the kindness. Shorshim min or hachesed, they have a root in the right line, but particularly he says in the line of chesed that is moving down through the right side. But on the left side you find that there's death, and dinim. Bizroa small nimshach misa gevura l'umas oilim, and going where? To the Gentiles who don't have a relationship with the Most High, shorshim min or hagavura, because he says that the Gentiles, their root is from the light of Gevurim. Then he says a meoi hamayim shehem habenimio shel tiferes Zair Anpin. So let's look inside of Zair Anpin. Istankein bedas. So he says what? He says the intestines are built from das. And the asav it is sakein b'yidecha ba'or shel muach hadas. Ki muach hadas meluvash b'yisod ima. So let's understand that the muach of das is in the Yesod of Ima. The Yesod Imam is staying because of Zair Anpin, and it stops at the Chaz of Zair Anpin. And from that particular, that's at the diaphragm. At that place is where the innards begin, the intestines. The digestive system is Mali Rebekol Achsadvin Ve'idvin Kamadamena. So he says, and we talked about this Malo B'Orcha Das, and this light of Das which is spreading, called hachadarim, all of the different chambers of prosdarim and alleyways are different pathways of Zair Anpin. So now it's not just going on the outside part of Zair Anpin, but it's also in all the different particulars on the inside, the Kamosha Marti, the Ale, we talked about it. Das chadarim yamalo. Das fills up chambers. Pirish u'beorcha das yispasha v'yismale kol chedre Zair Anpin, all of the rooms in the different compartments of Zair Anpin. Then he says, L'achar and this pashva, this gado goof Zair Anpin, and then Zair Anpin starts to grow. Bizroas ma'ayim, with arms and with limbs, I guess you would say, and innards. Shehem chesed gevura teferes. So he says, let's understand this. One is the right side of the body, Zair Anpin. That's chesed, and then it's gevuros, and then there's a middle line, which is teferes. Moshe Armarno tu is pashet gufa betrin shukum. Is a baod nispasha v'nisgal gufa b'shnei shokayim. So first thing is that the innards and the arms are created, and then after that there's a spread. That spreads out the legs b'shnei shokayim. Shehem Netzach Hod, which have another name, which is the name of Netzach Hod. So we have chesed, gevur, and teferes. Now you have sprouting from them this Netzach Hod, ki kodem nisak name chesed, gevura v'teferes shehem ikriim. So the first thing is get the chaga. He said because that's a root. V'achar kach nisak name Netzach Hod shehem b'bechinas tosefes, and then comes Netzach Hod, and he says they're in addition to the basic body. And so then between the two legs, shehem Netzach and Hod, nechazim v'taluyim, they're holding on to them, hanging down from them, train kuliyim v'train beid d'chura. So there you have the kidneys, the two kidneys, and the two testicles. Shtei kalayas v'shtecha b'becheb shel dacher. So the two. So we just said that. Shehem b'bechinas Netzach and Hod, and representing these two is Netzach and Hod. Which are on the inside. Hastumim bebifnim me'al yesod. They're closed up inside the body. They're up above the yesod. That's the origins of them inside the body. They call mishka the rebus v'cheder. They call gufa. She calls shemen the mishka. So all of the flow coming from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. The call gufa b'shechel Zair Anpin, and the power that's in the body of Zair Anpin, the kind of shefa zera kodesh. Now, all of this really could be taken apart a little bit more when he says mishka the rebus v'cheder the kol gufa. So it brings power into the body. She calls shemen and mishka the kol haguf shel Zair Anpin, the hind the shefa hazera kodesh, that is the shefa of the holy seed that he carries. Behu iskanesh. Mis asvim, they're gathered together. B'shtecha b'klayot v'shtecha b'beim. So all of the shefa that's inside of Zair Anpin goes through these two sets of organs. So the first thing is that they gather together in the kidneys. As the shefa, and then after that the kidneys deliver it to the gonads. So he says that is where the seed. Now he introduced the idea of the holy seed here. He didn't fill it out anymore, but now here we're over here again. He said because between these two, let me see, noisnim haklayus as a chef of the shnei. So now they're in the bayim. Shebechem mizbas meim hazera bizbashlos hazera. Then this actually matures or ripens the seed. The kol chaylin the nafek. Shekol hatzavachus shehem neshamos b'nei Yisrael, because all of the shamos that are the children of Israel, v'chamalachim, and all the malachim, hayotzim, the cholamos hatachtonim, that wind up being the agents to bring shefa down into the lower worlds. Minahom nafkim, me'ilach habebayim, they come from these bayim, heim yotzim. Ki min habayim heim nemshachim v'yardech yesod, because from there then they go into the yesod. So he says there's a position, I think I understand, a position of Netzach Hod inside of the body. And this Netzach Hod, they get involved with the kidneys, and then from the kidneys they go into the bayim. V'sharim kulu b'pum acha, and then ultimately all of it winds up going into the mouth of the sexual organ. V'oz kulam shorim v'ha yisod. In order, what's the idea? Now he's coming into the seed that he wants to talk about, that he mentioned before. He wants to put that seed on what has been ripened up there in Zair Anpin in his body into the nukva. And that's the reason why they're called the hosts. So ultimately he has two different elements here. One are neshamos, which really come from the olam abiyah, or abriya rather. They're on a higher level. Then he has malachim, which refers to a yitzira. I don't know if his intention is to get more specific about those two or not. Yotzim min abayim, all of this comes out from the testicles. Shehem Netzach Hod benimim, which represents the Netzach Hod on the inside. Gam hashokaim. So therefore, what happens with the legs? Shehem Netzach Hod ritzonim, which is the outside manifestation of Netzach Hod. So they're mentioned in the name of Skal, because I just was looking at this as I was reviewing it, and I wanted to show you something about the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, assuming that that's the normal way that we spell Yud Kei Vav Kei. I'll show it to you in a second. It says Spheres at Tiferes. When we talk about the Tiferes, which is the middle line, Shehiba Bechid is a goof, shall Zair Anpin, and represents the body of Zair Anpin. That Tiferes is called by the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. So I looked at the dots of this, so it's Menukad. And you count up these together, there are 4 dots. There's two underneath the Yud, one underneath the Vav, and one up above the Vav. Then you also have a 6, which is in the komets. So if you add them up together, they come to the number 46. So 46 is the milui of Av. So right in this, you see the milui is sitting inside of it in some way. I was going to point this out because there's something about Nekudos that I saw with Yaakov Cronenberg, but didn't quite get it. So let's go on. Ki Iker Gilui Shem Chavayahu. So the main thing about the revelation of this name Havaya, who was Spheres and Tiferes. I guess I lost him. What happened? I hung up. Oh, wow. I did the wrong thing. Wait a minute. Oh, come on, man. Wait. He's trying to call me. Okay. I'm sorry, I accidentally hung up on you. I don't know where you started. Where I lost you? Were you on page Shin Kaf Gimel at the bottom? Yeah. Okay, so let's start here. It says Spheres at Tiferes, Shehi Bechinas Aguf Shal Zair Anpin, Nikroim B'Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, and I pointed out that it's Menukad. The gematria of the Nekudos is 46, which is the Milui of Av. So it comes in the standard Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, has Av within it. A Gilui Shem Avaya Hu Spiris Tiferes. So if you want to know where you see the Gilui of the name Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, you see it in Tiferes. Netzach Hod and Yesod. So the name, these two spheros are called by the name of hosts. Again, kach, for this reason, now we have Tiferes Netzach and Hod, which I said spells Tana. Nikroim Yachad B'Shem Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. So together, if you look at that, they all are called Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. That's Tiferes Vakos. Hashem Tzvakos. So when he would say this phrase, so says the Hashem Tzvakos, and that's telling you that the Shefa that you're dealing with is specifically origined or highlighted from those places. Amad Dechura. So let's talk about the male organ. The Yesod shel Zachas Siyu b'Chadukol Gufa is at the very end of the whole body. Ho'asiyah v'Chasof shel Guf shel Zair Anpin. V'Ikra Yesod v'Nikra Yesod. It's called Yesod. Kihu Yesod Oilim, because it's the foundation of the world. What does that mean? Kamosha Shene'emar v'Tzadik Yesod Oilim. He says that the righteous person who's Shomer, is Briz, becomes the foundation of the world. V'Docha v'Ku Darga D'Bas Macha B'Nukva. So this concept, the foundation. So this foundation, this Yesod, is what's able to sweeten and to perfume the nukva. Ki al yedera Yesod shazer anpin, it's his Yesod. Hanim shochem b'chasade v'hambabasmim mantikim as a gevurus a nukva, because it's from this Yesod that brings out the chasadim that sweeten the nuk. He said at the time of the ziva v'kol the gabi nukva, and all the desire, everything that the male wants, is to be by the female. The bezerah darga, this level, shucha Yesod, when you reach the place of the Yesod, where all the shefa is located, Nimsa called Shuku Zair Anpin Lenukva, said all the desire of Zair Anpin is to be with his nuk. Because the Yesod has the ability to be sweetened, perfume, and bring great fragrance to the Gevuros. Bahai Yesod Yahil Lenukva. So the Yesod is the aspect that actually goes into the Nukta, the Asi, the Ikrit Sion, into a specific place, and now he's designating the word Sion. L'makam Yesod shel Nukva. It refers to the place of the Yesod of the Nukva HaNikrat Sion, which is called Sion. The Hasam Hu Asach Gesusa the Nukva. This is a sealed place. It is a closed up place in the Nukva. Kisham, that is in the Yesod of the Nukva. Hu makom avchusa, it's covered over, but snu and hidden away. Shalanukta halyoina, of the upper nukva. Kaves rechem leitasa, it's similar to the womb of a human woman. Kamo makom arechem shal Yesod the isha tachtaina. Again, kacha, for this reason, of the kevit shal Yesod shal Zair Anpin mamshak the Yesod the nukva. So since it comes to the Yesod of the nukva, as called Shefa Spheros, all the Shefa of these Spheros, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod, that is those three Spheros, Tana, Shel Zair Anpin, B'Nikroim, B'Shemos, Hashem Tzvakos, and all of this is called the name of Hashem, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, which is said before refers to Tiferes in the middle line, but then it says Tzvakos because it brings in all the other action inside. L'chein Hashem Tzvakos, Ikra Yesod. So this phrase, Hashem, the Shem of hosts, is Ikra Yesod. That place where the hosts are found is called Yesod. Gam Yesod shel Zair Anpin Nikra Hashem Tzvakos. So we say that he's also, his Yesod of Zair Anpin is called by that name Hashem Tzvakos. Al Shem Shefa Atiferes Netzach Hod Ha'over B'Socham, because of that which is inside of them and is moving. That's the shir today. Kol Tov.